You can act like a man! What's the matter with you?
Come on, don't be a sook.
Oh, whinge, fucking whinge.
Women and children can be careless, but not men.
Just get on with it, you fucking fairy. Rip into it.
You like it?
They make them for men.
Fairy.
Sissy bitch!
Bitch.
I was working by myself as an apprentice, running a job site. I remember being there by myself and standing on the top of a balcony and just looking over, and I just started climbing over the balcony. And I was like hanging off the edge, just like my fingertips just hanging off the edge back behind me. And just ready to let go and just feeling my fingertips slide. And then my phone rang and I climbed back over the balcony. And it was my mum calling me. So it was a bit of a saving grace for me. But it was just, there was no real reason why. There was nothing that came to mind. It was just like, this is why things are too hard. I couldn't understand it. And I just felt like I didn't want to be here anymore.
I just couldn't see a way out of it, and I just wanted the pain to stop. I just wanted some peace. And depression controls you. It controls everything, every part of your life. You know, when you're sleeping, it's still there. When you wake up, it's still there. Go for a run, it's always present no matter what you do. You can't escape it. So I suppose I saw that by ending my own life, I could escape it. You know, I could take back control, because I didn't feel like I had any control, but by doing this, I felt that was the only way I could get back some element of control.
She said, "Nathan, I'm ringing the police. You cannot do this to us." He was an exceptionally social person and also the life of the party. Yes, that's what was one of the hardest things to take, as in, you know, life of the party. How much did he cover up? He worked in the mines where they pay exceptional money, but of course the lifestyle is terrible. It's 4 days away from your family and then 4 days home. A lot of pressure on the family was put there, but he was driven to do that by the money. He needed to be that breadwinner and to really support the family and the wife. Unfortunately, I feel that all that was really what brought the marriage demise down because of that lifestyle that they chose. For my son, I just think he thought, that's it, it's over. Didn't want, for some reason, to give his marriage a chance. Where Belinda was just, let's have a little break here and refresh ourselves, and then let's try again, let's go to counselling, you know, let's do something here. But it was almost as if my son was just waiting for her to say that somehow. And I truly believe that the mines are a single man's job, not a family man's job. But there are a lot of family men that do this.
I didn't want to talk to anybody about it because I didn't think it was something to talk about. I thought you'd just sort of like held on to things and just like, tough it out, it'll pass, you'll get over it, it's fine. But yeah, it didn't pass, it didn't get any better, and then when it wasn't getting better, I found ways to try and cope. And most of those ways were through drinking and drugs. January 18th, 2014, I'd been out at a mate's house having a barbecue and we'd been drinking. I went to get in my car that night and they came out and they took the keys off me. And they hid the key, like they took the keys, put them on the table, and we went back inside. And for some reason I decided I was hell bent on driving that night. I remember picking the keys back up, and that's the last thing I remember. All I could feel was the pressure of the steering wheel on my chest, and I could feel blood running down my face and down my legs, but I couldn't feel any pain, it was just pressure. And just someone telling me to breathe, it's okay. And then the next thing I was in the emergency ward at Liverpool. The thought actually went through my head as like, no one would even show up to my funeral.
I joined the army when I was 18, and it's what I did for 19 years. And then suddenly, you wake up one morning, you're not in the army anymore. You don't wear the uniform, or you do your normal job. You go to the office, and there's none of the, the mateship or you don't work together so closely, and you don't do the physical stuff. You don't go away for periods of time and do the hardship out in the bush together. You don't want to tell anyone that you have an issue or a problem, because the army, well back then anyway, it was all about being tough and not having any problems. Especially my background is as an officer, and you can't tell your subordinates that you're feeling down or anything like that, because they look up to you and you've got to lead and inspire them. And you don't tell your seniors either, because you want them to give you a good report and promote you and things like that. So it's quite a lonely position, being a leadership position in the army. I let it bottled up until I couldn't hold it anymore, and only when I was at that point I was lucky that I could reach out to someone and talk to Lifeline. I spoke to this man on the end of the line, and he told me it was okay. He said I wasn't abnormal. He allowed me to talk about it. And I was apologising all the time, saying sorry for calling you, and he just kept telling me it's okay, mate. That's what I'm here for, to listen to you, and to help you out when you need it. So he was basically my mate that night.
One of my friends did a video on Facebook for me and got a lot of my friends like a message, and the moment I was watching it, that's when I broke down, because it sort of hit me that like what I'd done, but also like how many people cared. Like it was stupid of me to try and to do it, and if I wasn't here, there's like a lot of people that would miss me, and it was just an overwhelming amount of emotion behind it all. It was the last 5-6 years of bad decisions culminating into one thing, and I feel like it was a bit of a wake-up call. Like I was at a bit of a crossroads there, and if I had two paths to go down, I could either keep going the way I was going and I was going to end up in a wooden box, or I sort of take this as a warning and change things and make my life better.
One of the things that really affected Nathan after he'd come down was the fact that if it got out there that he had a mental illness problem that he would be deprived of his children. And I just couldn't get through to him that that's just not the case. That's not how it works. But he had an interview at Rio Tinto, another mining company in Singleton. And Rio Tinto were very family. You know, they were realising, you know, with the mines, you know, and they wanted to make this a real family thing. So Nathan came away from that interview terribly distraught because he knew his marriage was over. So anyway, we were driving home from Singleton and he said to me, "Mum, I need time out." And I said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I don't know where I'm going, Mum." I said, "Well, you've got to promise me that you will ring me if I need to know where you are." And I mean, I couldn't stop my son. He's 31 years of age. What am I going to do? Tie him down to a bed? I can't. But I knew. And I was powerless to stop my son from going. So he took off and I'll never forget it. He walked down, I was standing there and he walked down those front stairs and I said, "Nathan." And he looked up at me, you know, all euphoric, like not a care in the world. And I said, please don't do anything stupid. Please ring me. And he just laughed. And he just said, "Oh, Mum, for goodness sake, you know, please." That's the last time I ever saw my son.
You feel like you're weak and that you should just get over it in many ways.
Our dads didn't do it, so we don't do it. Like they didn't feel like it was, like they could talk about their stuff, so like why should we? Or they never did it, so like they mustn't have gone through it, so maybe we're just being a bit soft and we need to harden up a little bit. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves that way. To be like the men that we see growing up, or the people that we look up to.
To the bewilderment and heartache of the country, Dan took his own life 2 weeks ago.
He spoke about his father's death by suicide 20 years ago.
Seared on my mind from that night was the speed of her approach and her scream as she flung the door open of my bedroom sobbing, "Dad's gone, Dad's gone."
Up until the age of 8 or 9, boys, they cry the same amount as girls, and then they get taught to stop. Like they're not allowed anymore, and it's ridiculous.
At least 9 workers who have taken their own lives while working in the Pilbara region over the past 12 months.
Why are 3 times more men committing suicide than women?
There's definitely a crisis and men have got to talk about it. You know, girls will always tell their girlfriends what's going on. They're more willing to talk about it. They understand feelings and emotions and can talk about that. When men call Lifeline, they struggle with the emotions. They struggle with talking about their feelings.
There's no ideal person. There's no, oh, this is the way we should be. It's just an idea that people have. It's just a stereotype that people have of what it is to be a man. It's got nothing to do with being a man. It takes more of a man to admit that they're feeling something.
No, not only are you grieving the loss of a loved one, but your family is just being ripped apart by the fact that it was suicide.